All right, so we are back. We're going to do one more episode here, and I want to let you know how much I love being here, as well as how being on this podcast and having an espresso makes me learn how to drink with my left hand, which I normally use my right. So we're going to go back into it. This one is going to be a very, very powerful one. I'm going to share an experience with you that I just had yesterday. So without further ado, hi guys, my name is Donnie Rouse, and you are listening to the podcast One Life, Holding a Light. Have you ever felt that you knew at one point where you were going and what you were moving towards, but then on your way in that journey, you feel like you've lost course, or maybe that you don't feel like you're doing as much or achieving as much or making the strides forward that you need to make in order to get to that place that you want to be. Or maybe you forgot that place altogether. If that happens to you, there are three things I want you to do. And I'm going to share a story about my own life and how I had lost my sense of direction and where I was going, and how a friend helped show me where that guiding light is, or that North Star. So the first thing is one, make sure you have written down somewhere what your intention is. Likely you would have repeated it several times, and as a result of repeating it, like you probably know a gist of it. Secondly is to make sure that you are constantly monitoring and tracking your wins. It's so easy to go on that path, to keep taking these strides forward, and to be making progress through those small wins, but not keeping track. And as a result of not keeping track, you feel like you're losing even when you're winning. And then the third thing to do as you're doing those and you're marking down your journey, the third thing is be the light for somebody else. Because chances are, in your own life, the person, no one makes it alone. There has been someone in some point in your life who has been that candle for you, who's shown you the way, who's helped you, maybe diverted you into a direction, and now as a result of that, your life is in a completely different place. I got a call from one of my good friends, and she was talking about Miami, about taking a trip to Miami, and she asked me, she says, well, hey, how is Miami going? How are things? And I was honest with her, and I shared with us, to be honest with you, I feel like I haven't done anything. I feel like, I feel like all the time here, I have nothing to show for it. When I said that, she jumped back, and prior, the conversation, I was in my head. So a lot of the things that she was saying were literally just going over my head. So I was there, but I wasn't really present. But then she said something that broke that hypnotic state. She started pointing out things that I had been doing. She's like, are you kidding me? Like, the reels that you've been posting on about the cafes, that doesn't take, it takes time to even just post a reel, hours. And she started pointing out the things that the steps I had making. You said you were going to go down there for a course. That was your intention. You moved down to Miami. I applaud you for that, because it's so difficult to make a complete lifestyle shift. Like you set the intention and you just went for it. And she started saying all this, and I started to get emotional thinking about it. And then as I was sitting, I was watching the sunset, and she was in my right ear with my AirPod, and she was going on about, reminded me of, correct me if I'm wrong. I remember when we spoke, the first thing you said is you're going to Miami because you wanted to work, you wanted to try something different, you wanted to work on your One Life course. And then as a result of the One Life course, your intention behind doing that was you wanted to help people and you wanted location freedom. As for the coffee, she's like, you didn't want to give the coffee thing up, but you wanted to figure out, but you wanted to focus on this part first and then keep going with the coffee. And as she said, she's like, do I have it correct? And I felt seen and validated, because I had forgotten what my path was. I was so close to it. I wasn't counting the wins and seeing all the progress that I'd made. And so I felt like I was losing when I was actually making these. I was making progress, and I was doing everything that I set out to do. So when she said that, I was like, yeah, 100%. She's like, all right then. Well, all right then, you're doing great. And at that moment, I realized that I was counting a lot of, I wasn't being grateful. I was looking at my I was looking at like my day, and there are things about my apartment that I would complain about. Like I get sunrise, but then I would complain because I would, after the sun has gone over the building, it would get very dim, and like there's this blue light, and I like a lot of natural light. It just makes me feel good. It gives me energy. And then, but I wasn't being grateful for that, and so then all of a sudden it started to shine a light on just being grateful for the thing. So as a result of that, I was one of the reasons why I went to see the sunset. And then also why, like today, I went out, watched the sunrise early morning, meditated on the beach, came back here. And I'm here now with you. This is one of the things that brings me joy. One of the things that gives me purpose is by showing up here and sharing with you lessons that I experience in my life, as well as in like those day-to-day moments, right? Because life is in those day-to-day moments. So I want you, the point of this is I want you to remind yourself of what it is you're going for and just recognize the wins, because it is shitty going through life thinking that you're losing when you are winning, right? You got to keep score, and you got to have a way of checking in every day to make sure that you're one, making strides in the right direction, but two, to capture those wins. Let's go to the third part about showing up for other people. I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, I tend to be like, when someone says, oh, I'm going to come visit, like I say like, oh, open door policy, friends, come over. But sometimes when I think that it's, like it's going to interrupt my way of my day-to-day life, I'm like, I don't know about that, maybe a couple days. And so she had said that, and I was like, you know what, if you want, I was like, at least for a few days, you could come crash at my place. I'm totally fine with that. But know that I have I will be doing some work. And so she's like, well, don't worry, I'll go out and I'll do my own thing. So I won't even, literally it'll be a place where I lay my head. And I was like, that's fine. I was like, obviously I'm going to spend time with her when she's there. But it got me thinking about the people whom I feel closest to. And I would say, all right, well, as a result of having this conversation, because before that, I felt validated and seen. And when I look at the closest relationships that I have, these are the people that remind me of the strides I'm taking, that remind me that I'm winning, but also remind me of where it is I want to go and how they're proud of the results that they've seen me get. Because I don't always look at those myself, if I'm honest with you. They're to strive towards a goal and to get the goal and not feel fulfilled is the ultimate failure. And so I tell you this because, one, to keep track of your wins, but also to keep track of other people's wins, so this way you could remind them. When I looked at this, this philosophy or this aha that I just had, I thought about it. I was like, well, I have some friends who do the same thing. There's one of my good friends, I won't say the name, but we had connected on a very deep level, and when she shared with me why, like, she felt such a deep connection with me, she was like, well, it's because, she's like, I remember when I wanted to try this, everyone made fun of me for wanting to do this, to create this product. But when I spoke to you, you were the only person that encouraged me. You didn't say it was stupid or crazy. You said, yeah, let's try it. So, and she remembered that. And so the common glue in all this is that we remember and feel close to the people who pick us up, remind us and hold us to the higher level, remind us of who we are and what we're capable of. So the last question is, who can you be a light for, right? Who needs your support? And maybe it's not one specific person, but rather maybe it's just a way you have to look and approach life and your day, to think about, like, maybe we see people making progress, but we don't always acknowledge them, and they need that acknowledgement. But as a result of acknowledging that, not only do we acknowledge them and they feel good, but it also makes us feel good for picking them up and reminding us of that same truth that is available within us. So look at everyone, have some, look at what they're doing, their passions, their aspirations, and pick them up. I promise it doesn't just, by picking someone up, it doesn't just pick them up. It also, whenever you give, you receive, and vice versa. Whenever you receive, you're also giving. It's a two-way street. It loops. That's why we are alive today. That's why civilization is thriving. Without that, it would just fall apart. So that is my message for today. So I hope again the intention was, one is just know what your path is. Two, make sure that you're keeping track, keep score, and this way you know that you are making progress, you're winning. And then lastly is to be that shining light for someone else, because everyone's candle goes out and we need the help of one another in order to pick ourselves back up and remind us as where we're going for, and also that life is just good. So if you enjoyed this, please hit that subscribe button, share this with 5 people, or if you find value in this, I hope you subscribe and share it. But if you don't, just be a light for somebody. Like, make that the intention, right? Like, just go out there and notice the efforts that people make and the struggles they're going, and hold that light for them. Because you have no idea, one, how much it's going to mean to them, but also how it's going to feed you as well, because you did something great, and it's also going to remind you of that greatness that is within you, right? Because life is a mirror. When you acknowledge others, you're also giving yourself permission. So again, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Please hit that subscribe button, and thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this gave you some value in a different way of looking at your day. Remember always, you only get one life. Live fully, live passionately, and most of all, live now. God bless you guys, and I will see you again